Have you ever felt like you just didn't fit in? Not because something was wrong with you, but because something about you was wired differently, more deeply, more intentionally. Maybe you've walked through life carrying questions no one else seems to ask, sensing things others seem to ignore, feeling a weight in your spirit that you can't quite explain. It's as if your soul was crafted with a different blueprint, one that doesn't quite match the noise and patterns of this world. You may not realize it yet, but what you carry is rare, extremely rare, the kind of rare that can't be taught, mimicked, or manufactured. It's not about being better. It's about being different in a world that worships sameness. This kind of personality doesn't chase trends, it challenges them. Doesn't follow the crowd, it often walks alone. But there's purpose in that path, even if it's hidden. There are signs, quiet ones, sacred ones, that reveal a truth many overlook. You are not ordinary. You are not here by accident. And if you've ever felt unseen, it's because you were made to see what others miss. This message is for the ones who've always known they were different, but never knew why. You're about to find out. To have a rare personality is to carry something that cannot be duplicated, a fingerprint of the divine etched into your being. This rarity is not about ego or elitism. It is about essence. It is about having been designed in such a way that you do not blend in because you were never meant to. It is as if the Creator took extra time on your soul, chiseling it not for the masses, but for a mission. You may have felt different since childhood, like you saw the world through a lens that others didn't even know existed. While others were content with what was handed to them, you asked questions. You felt deeply. You noticed what others missed. There is a sensitivity in you. Not weakness, but sensitivity to things unseen. You walk into a room and sense what is happening beneath the surface. You hear what is not said. You feel burdens others ignore. That too is part of your rarity. The divine rarity shows itself not just in how you think, but in how you feel, how you perceive, how you move through the world. You are drawn not to the stage, but to the shadows where transformation often begins. You are not addicted to attention, you are compelled by meaning. Your joy doesn't come from what is popular, but from what is real. You are one of the few who feel truth vibrating in their bones. You recognize falsehood not always with your mind, but with your spirit. You are a discerner, not just of situations, but of destinies, of energies, of purposes. You may not have asked for this, but you carry it. And because of that, the world often doesn't know what to do with you. In your silence, there is strength. In your stillness, a storm. The rare personality walks through life with the weight of awareness. You see how people are hurting even when they smile. You sense when a space is off, even when everything looks fine. You read between the lines of life. This is not something you learned. It is something you were born with. You may not always know why you feel what you feel, or why certain things burden you while others are blind to them. But that is part of being rare. You are not on the same frequency as the masses because your signal was tuned to something higher. You don't operate by trends, but by timeless truths. That kind of design doesn't come from culture, it comes from calling. To carry such a rare personality often means walking a path few understand. You may feel isolated at times. You may question your place, your people, your purpose. But the rarity is not a flaw. It is a feature. It is the mark of someone sent to shift things, not just observe them. Your very existence is evidence that something more is at work in the universe. Something sacred, intentional, and beautifully uncommon. Those with an extremely rare personality are not captivated by the noise of the world. While many chase after applause, recognition, and visibility, these individuals are drawn inward, pulled by a gravity that comes not from ego, but from essence. Their eyes are not fixated on the glitter of the surface. They are searching for the unseen truths buried beneath it all. Where others are satisfied with what is loud and visible, they long for what is quiet and eternal. This is not learned behavior, it is instinctual. Like their spirit was born knowing that the surface lies and the truth hides in the depths. The world teaches people to move fast, to speak often, to be seen, to be celebrated. But the rare soul moves slower. They linger in questions others avoid. They find meaning in silence. They are not afraid of solitude, because solitude is often the place where the voice of truth becomes clear. They are deep feelers, not because they choose to be, but because they are wired to absorb and perceive at a level that surpasses intellect. When others walk past a moment, they pause. When others move on, they sit with it. They ask what it means, what it reveals, and how it connects to something bigger. They do not simply want to know what happened. They want to understand why. And not just understand with logic, but with wisdom. This depth can be misunderstood by others, even labeled as overthinking, sensitivity, or detachment. But in reality, this is a sacred design. These are not people who dwell in shallow waters. They are divers. They are called to swim beneath the waves of emotion, of experience, of spirit. They feel pain more deeply, but they also experience beauty more profoundly. They are the ones who can weep over a sunrise or tremble in the presence of truth. They do not seek validation in the usual ways, compliments, social likes, public approval. These things are fleeting to them. They do not chase them because they know they were not made for such rewards. They are not moved by trends, fads, or social games. What moves them is authenticity, depth, the sacred, the broken made whole. They can sit with someone in silence and still feel connected. They can read ancient words and hear something new. They have a hunger for meaning that the world cannot satisfy, and so they often turn to the invisible, faith, the soul, divine mystery, the eternal questions that never really leave us. They would rather have one moment of real connection than a lifetime of empty praise. They are not in love with appearances. They are in love with what is real. That is why others often come to them in times of crisis, in moments of truth, because something in them says, this one will understand. This one listens. This one sees beyond. And so they walk through life not with empty ambition, but with a sense of mission, quietly carrying a depth the world rarely takes time to notice. To have a rare personality is often to live in the space between connection and isolation, between being seen and being misunderstood. Nevertheless, you may see connection and isolation between being seen and being misunderstood. People with such rare inner makeup carry an energy that is difficult to define. They do not walk into rooms demanding attention, but somehow they shift the atmosphere by their presence. Some are drawn to them instantly, sensing a calm, a depth, a knowing. Others feel unsettled, not because these individuals are threatening, but because they reflect something honest, something real, something that cannot be controlled or manipulated. This magnetic yet misunderstood quality is part of what makes them so unique. They are not chameleons trying to blend in. They are mirrors, often reflecting back what others are not ready to confront. They often feel out of place in the very places where others feel at home. Conversations that revolve around surface-level topics quickly become exhausting to them. They hunger for something more. Truth, meaning, revelation. They try to engage, to connect, but often realize that most people are speaking a language not built for the soul. This dissonance can leave them feeling alone, even in a crowd. And yet, in that aloneness, they are not bitter. They carry it like a silent song, knowing deep down that their path was never meant to be crowded. They understand that being misunderstood is part of the calling that comes with being rare. When they do speak, their words often carry weight, not because they are trying to impress, but because they speak from lived experience. They speak from the valley, from the fire, from the hidden places where most dare not go. Others might be startled by their insight, challenged by their questions, or even offended by their clarity. And still they speak, not always with volume, but always with purpose. The truth in their voice disturbs illusions. It shakes the comfortable. It awakens the sleeping. And not everyone is ready for that kind of presence. They are not emotionally distant, though many perceive them that way. In truth, they feel deeply, so deeply, that they often protect themselves with silence. They sense the pain in others before it is spoken. They discern brokenness behind a smile. They hear the fear in words coded with bravado. This kind of sensitivity is not widely understood, and because they don't react the way others expect, they are often mislabeled. Because they are often mislabeled, but they are not disconnected. They are simply tuned to a different frequency, a higher resonance, one that hears what others ignore. This rare wiring means they carry a certain loneliness, not from lack of love, but from lack of resonance. Few can match their depth, their pace, their perception, and so they walk quietly, patiently, waiting for those rare connections that do not need to be explained. They would rather be misunderstood for who they truly are than be accepted for a version of themselves that is false. In this choice, they preserve their essence, knowing that though the world may not fully recognize them, they were never meant to be easily understood. They were meant to be deeply known. Those with an extremely rare personality often find themselves moving in opposition to the world around them. Not out of rebellion, but because their inner compass is tuned to something deeper, something eternal. The culture flows in one direction, driven by popularity, trends, and fleeting goals, while they are quietly pulled in another, by values that don't always make sense to those around them. They live by principles that are not dictated by the crowd, but by conviction. Their decisions are not shaped by what is convenient or popular, but by what is true and meaningful. This internal pull often makes them feel like outsiders in systems that were never built for their kind. They do not belong to the age they live in because they are shaped by something outside of time. They are not easily swayed by groupthink or pressured into compromising who they are to fit in. They are not interested in following the blueprint that others follow simply because it works. If it does not align with their spirit, they will not move. They do not chase after the same milestones as fame, validation, accumulation, because they are called to build something eternal, something unseen. Their vision stretches beyond this moment, beyond what can be measured in likes or income. And because of this, they often appear slow to others. But what seems slow is actually deliberate. What seems delayed is actually rooted. They are not building for the applause of now, but for the impact of forever. In conversations, they bring a weight that shifts the tone. They ask questions that disrupt comfort. They raise ideas that challenge norms. And often this makes others uncomfortable, not because they are trying to provoke, but because their very presence invites honesty. They do not have the luxury of pretending to be someone they are not, even if it would make things easier. This refusal to conform is not arrogance, it is alignment. They would rather walk alone in integrity than be embraced through compromise. Their values often seem outdated or extreme to others. Things like loyalty, silence, discipline, mercy, and sacrifice. But for them, these are not ideals, they are lifelines. These rare souls live by unseen laws. They understand that truth is not always comfortable, that love is not always soft, and that purpose is not always praised. They walk with a sense of sacred responsibility, aware that what they carry is not theirs alone. It has been entrusted to them. And so they protect it fiercely. There are times when they wrestle with their difference, when the loneliness aches, when the resistance feels heavy, when their path looks barren, but still, they do not turn back because something inside them knows they are not being led by culture. They are being guided by calling. And that calling often leads through wilderness before it brings them into purpose. They do not need the world to understand them because their steps are not for show. They are for impact, for legacy. For a reason not yet fully revealed, those with an extremely rare personality are not satisfied with the temporary. Their hearts are not drawn to what fades, but to what endures. They move through life with an awareness that there is more than what is visible, more than what is immediate. Their thoughts often stretch beyond the moment, reaching into the eternal, pulling meaning from what others pass by. They are not impressed by titles, trends, or status, because these things are dust in the wind to them. Instead, they hunger for things that last: truth, purpose, wisdom, and legacy. While many chase comfort, they are drawn toward conviction. While others are content with fleeting moments of pleasure, they crave what will still matter long after applause fades and crowds disperse. There is a deep awareness in them that life is not just about now, it is about forever. That awareness affects everything they do. They speak with intention, they listen with presence, they serve with reverence. Even the small things carry weight because they see the eternal stitched into the ordinary. They recognize that every decision every relationship, every silence has the power to echo far beyond the moment it occurred. This gives them a seriousness, not in temperament, but in spirit. They are not heavy people. They are people who carry weight. And that weight is the knowledge that life is sacred, that time is precious, and that everything is connected. This longing for the eternal often isolates them. They live in a world obsessed with instant gratification, where quick answers, fast results, and temporary highs are celebrated. But they are not wired that way. They take the longer road. They wait for deeper conversations. They choose the kind of love that is built slowly and rooted deeply. They are patient with the process, even when it hurts, because they know that what is born in stillness lasts longer than what is born in noise. And they are not afraid to be misunderstood, because they are not building for now, they are building for always. They see beauty differently. They find it in sacred silence, in the broken being made whole, in the old and forgotten being brought back to life. Their eyes are trained to see the eternal fingerprints on what others call ordinary. They are moved by things others dismiss, a word of kindness, a moment of stillness, a truth spoken in love. These are the treasures they gather, not to hoard, but to pass on, like seeds planted in the soil of eternity. Even their pain serves a purpose. They do not waste it. They feel deeply, and that feeling becomes wisdom. Their tears become rivers that nourish others. Their silence becomes space where others can breathe. They are not afraid of death, not just physical death, but the death of ego, the death of illusions, the death of self, because they know that on the other side of death is life that never ends. And that is what they seek. Not the loud, fleeting life of applause, but the quiet, unshakable life of truth. To have a rare personality is to carry a vision that others do not see and a weight that others do not feel. There is a burden that comes with insight, a heaviness that lives inside those who are able to see beyond the surface. These individuals are not only gifted with perception, they are entrusted with it. They can look into a situation and sense the unseen. They can walk into a moment and feel the spiritual climate shift. This sensitivity is not an emotional reaction. It is a deep spiritual awareness that gives them glimpses into what is coming, what is hidden, and what is true beneath the mask. They are awake in a world that is sleeping, and with that awakening comes responsibility. It is not easy to see what others cannot. It is not simple to feel what others ignore. It is both gift and burden, light and shadow. Their insight can feel like fire inside their bones. It gives them clarity, direction, and purpose, but it also isolates them. When you carry a vision others don't yet understand, you often walk alone. Not because you want to, but because your path hasn't been revealed to the crowd. They are called to prepare for things before others even know they're coming. They sense storms in the spirit long before clouds appear in the sky. They can feel the pain behind smiles, the confusion behind confidence, and the unrest hidden beneath achievement. They often have to carry truths in silence, not out of fear, but out of wisdom, knowing that some things must be protected until their time is right. This burden of vision leads them to moments of deep restlessness. There are seasons when they feel out of sync with the world around them, as if they are standing in a place they've already outgrown. They are often driven by something they can't fully explain, pulled forward by a calling that doesn't come with a map. They may feel torn between what is and what could be, between the present they inhabit and the future they can see. It is not uncommon for them to weep in secret, not because they are weak, but because the weight they carry has no name. They see injustice and feel it like a wound. They encounter truth and it shakes them to their core. They are burdened not just by their own path, but by the paths of others, by a world that is blind to what truly matters. In the middle of this burden, they often find themselves misunderstood. People may see their seriousness and mistake it for arrogance. They may see their silence and misread it as disinterest. But those who carry rare vision are rarely loud. They speak when it matters. They act when it counts. Their lives are marked not by busyness, but by intentionality. They know the power of waiting. They understand the weight of timing. They do not move unless the spirit within them says it is time. And so they carry the vision faithfully even when it burns. So if you've listened closely, if something deep inside you stirred with every word, You're beginning to understand that your difference is not your defect. It's your design. You were never meant to blend in because you were never made to be common. The depth you feel, the convictions you carry, the way you see beyond the surface, these are not coincidences. They are markers of a rare soul, someone chosen not for the comfort of conformity, but for the courage to carry truth in a world full of noise. Yes, your path may be lonelier. Your burdens may be heavier. Your questions may run deeper. But all of this is the refining fire for a life of purpose that cannot be shaken. The world may not always understand you, but that's because it did not shape you. You were shaped by something higher, something sacred. So walk boldly, walk wisely, and when the weight of your rarity feels too much to bear, remember, it's proof that you are entrusted with something eternal. You are not lost. You are not late. You are simply rare. And the rarest souls are not found in the spotlight. They are found in the quiet places, carrying light that never goes out.